Good evening, good evening, good evening. So my name is Nafis Nichols and I am the receiver for the Chester Upland School District. I know that it is about 6:02, but we really want to get started promptly at 6 because the presentation is very intense and informative, and we have a hard stop at 7:30. Don't want to pay too much overtime. We're financially distressed. That was a joke. But it's serious, but it's a joke. But again, tonight I would like to introduce, before I get into some things, our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Craig Parkinson. We have our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Patrice Levine, our Chief Academic Advisor, Dr. Phil Sutton, our Director of Business Operations, Ms. DeWanda Mosley, our Dr. Ashley Pless, who is our Director of Human Resources, Dr. Purcell Whitaker, our Director of Pupil Services, and Mr. Howard, our Director of Facilities and Operations. So you will hear from all of these individuals as we go through our presentation. And I want to tell you that you got the other thing. As we go through this presentation, there are going to be things that you hear and see that you should be upset about, because we're upset about. As we all know, our district has been in some sort of financial distress status, academic distress status for over 30 years since I was in the district. So this is not an easy fix, but it's something that this group of individuals, our teachers, faculty, staff, our school board members are committed to the cause. We are here because we're committed to the cause. This last year, I really assessed the team and could have went in many different directions, but felt that these were the individuals that were up to the task, because at the end of the day, what I know about each and every one of them, children are first. And that's what it's about. Our children are first. A lot of things in the community that I hear, some of you know me, sometimes I just talk. There's too many adults that are fighting because they want what they want, and we're not thinking about our babies. So we have to think about our babies here in Chester Upland School District. Again, when you see some of this data, I want you to be upset, because we are. But I also want you to know that we're righting the wrongs of the past, and we are not the gotcha team. We're the team to say, well, there's an issue, we see it, let's address it, let's fix it, and let's move forward. Let's get the clipper ship going the way that it needs to go, and do what we need to do for our students, our faculty, our staff in this community, because that's what matters at the end of the day. I have to acknowledge our school board members. I see Vice President Green is here, President Neal, Mr. Washington, Ms. Taylor, Ms. McLaren, and Ms. Quell. Thank you for coming out. And again, I have to say this, I always say this, I believe the first time, at least I hear, we heard a lot from PDE, we heard a lot from Judge Dozier. First time that they've seen Office of Superintendent, Office of Receiver, and the school board working in tandem together to address the issues that we're having, or we're fixing here in the Chester Upland School District. And they also said that over the last 10 months, they saw more progress than they've seen since this district has been in receivership since 2012. So I applaud this team. So sit back and relax. There will be index cards going around for you to write questions on your index cards. Don't be upset, but we want to be very transparent. So we are taking questions tonight. We want you to write your questions down so that we can have them posted on our website, on Facebook, our TV station. So we're transparent, so that they're there in writing. You can always reference them to hold us accountable. So this is the state of the district address. But we will be having more community forums where we'll be able to have some dialogue back and forth throughout the years. And this will be an annual event to pretty much tell the community, or inform the community, where we were, where we are, and where we're going. So Dr. Parkinson, the show is yours.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you so much for being here this evening. This is where it begins, the partnership, the community coming out. I had the opportunity to be on a podcast this afternoon where I had the opportunity to speak to some of the audience members about what this district means to me, why I'm here, and with the vision that we have. So it was a great opportunity to talk about how we're starting to bring this community together. And we love the children as much as we say we love them, and we're going to continue to show up and do what we need to do. So before I jump into my piece of State of the District, I have a special young man who's going to kick things off for us.
I've been a part of the Chester Upland School District for as long as I can clearly remember. And in my stay at this district, I experienced a lot of great things. I was always pushed forward to never be complacent with where I was. I was always told to be better than what I thought I could be. I was always pushed to do more than I thought I could do. And it got me into a great position in my life right now. I graduated with a 3.9 GPA, and I received a full ride from Cheney University. And once my 4 years of college are complete, if I can maintain a 3.5 or higher, they will pay for medical school as well. So me being a student in the Chester Upland School District, a few things that I could say that I wish we were able to do is I wish students were able to travel more, like not just around the state or to different field trips, but give us the experience of being out of the state or out of the city so we can learn how to not behave, but so we can learn what the different environments are like, and we're not just stuck in the same environment. I wish we had a wider array of classes offered in terms of our AP classes. So other schools will offer things like AP biology, or we'll have different AP classes, which we have AP classes, we don't have as many as other schools. And it doesn't really set us back, but it would be nice to have, knowing that we can go into college with these credits that would, be toward our major. I also would like us to have more career readiness programs. Now, I know we already have a lot of career readiness programs, but I know that me graduating, I know a lot of my classmates weren't sure what they wanted to do. Now, I'm not saying that that's the fault of the district, but I'm just saying that us having more career readiness programs may have allowed them to see further down their path and see what they wanted to do. Last but not least, I kind of wish we had more college tours. I understand that with COVID, that was difficult. And I'm not necessarily talking about the big tour that we do in November, but I just wish we could travel to different colleges in the area to allow us to get a better experience of, not the college life, but what it would be like going on these college tours. Because me graduating with the class of 2022, I didn't get to experience that. That's about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mikkel. Mikkel actually was one of the students who sat on the Superintendent Receivers Committee meeting each month. Receiver Nichols, myself, Dr. Sutton, Dr. Williams, and others would meet with students each month from the various schools just to hear their perspective and how things were going. So outspoken young man, obviously let us know things that he wanted and he desired. And honestly, he's a rising star. And I can't wait to see the future for Mikkel. So again, Mikkel, thank you so much for that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share, there are 5 areas that I will be addressing as a superintendent over the next year and over the next 4 to 5 years, but next definitely focusing on these areas. There are 5 areas that I'll be focusing on. I will not cover every single bullet. What we're going to do is I would definitely want to give some time for my team to speak, but obviously as we focus on safe schools, as we talk about a learning environment for our students, we know that in order for students to learn and to be successful, they have to feel safe. They have to feel that they're coming into a safe environment. And that is our primary goal as we bring our students back to this district, is to make sure that they are in a safe learning environment. One of the things that all of our staff will be participating in this coming fall is ALICE training. So it's unfortunate, the things that are taking place in this world, but it necessitates the need to have all of your staff trained for active shooter drills, for things that may arise in a building. So all of our staff will be trained on that this coming fall. We are looking to bring safe corridors back to the district where our students, as they are coming to school each morning, we want to make sure that they can, once they leave the front doors of their homes, that they feel that they're going to be safe, that they feel as though that, there are people who are, in proximity, people who are around, making sure that they're taken care of and looking for them. So we will make sure that we continue to do that. We're working on developing our crisis teams, our crisis response teams, which is, again, obviously extremely important. So as we put all these things back in place, because they did exist at some point in the Chester Upland School District. But, at times things just faded, and we just need to make sure that we return all these things back to the district to return it to its greatness that it once was. And we're here to make that happen. Academics. Dr. Sutton, our Chief Academic Officer, will speak to the academics in greater detail, but some of our areas of focus this year is we're going to focus obviously on improving our graduation rates. An area of concern is literacy. We want to make sure that every single student is reading on grade level. So that will be something that Dr. Sutton and his team will work on. Something that I'm extremely excited about is the return of our CTE programs, career technical education, these programs that, again, and I always like to share this story with people. Prior to arriving to Chester Upland School District, one of the things that everyone knew that Chester did extremely well and was great is they had a robust CTE program. Culinary arts, automotives, you name it, they had these strong programs. And then these intermediate units came along and started creating programs emulating what Chester Upland School District was doing. So what we need to do is just bring these opportunities back to our students and make sure that we improve our CTE programs. We've been working with a number of partners, Local 413, and when you see the list of partners who we've been working with, but we've been working with a number of organizations to help revitalize the CTE programs, and I'll get into that later in the presentation for you. So again, you'll hear Coach Bell, who's our athletic director and director of activities. He's going to speak to the importance of extracurricular activities. Our goal is to make sure that we have all of our students participating in at least one extracurricular activity while they're in high school. Again, we're going to start with the minimum of one. Hopefully they'll participate in multiple activities, but we all know what research says. Students who are actively engaged in their school are going to most likely graduate, and they're going to do well. So it's extremely important to make sure that we keep our students engaged in all these extracurricular activities. And you will see from Coach Bell tonight all of the new activities that are coming to the district. So we're excited about that as well. So the third area that we will be focusing on is physical responsibility. And Ms. Mosley is going to speak to that. And I want to say, thank you. I want to thank the entire team. Publicly thank all of them. But thank Ms. Mosley. You're going to hear some things tonight what she's been able to do in that business department to turn things around. It's simply amazing. But one of the things that we wanted to really focus on, obviously, accountability, controls, and oversight. And when we talk about controls, it's simply putting things in place to make sure that there's some oversight and that we're making sure that all of the money that's coming in. One of the first conversations I had with Coach Bell, we were talking about gate money, which, when you talk about gate money, that's at the money that you collect at the football games, basketball games. So, initially there was not a process in place of how all those funds were collected and how they had to be reconciled and when they were put into, to the business department to be deposited the following day. So putting controls, having accountability in place, I can assure you, is going to take this district a long place. So again, Ms. Mosley's done a great job in focusing on that. So when I talk about oversight for our charter schools and the out-of-district placements, that is something that we're truly focusing on. Our goal is to bring the students back to the Chester Upland School District. And that's the plan that we have. I want to say close to half of our budget, and Ms. Mosley can speak to that, is spent on charter school payments, which, we all know it's truly hard to provide our students with all the resources that they need. And we're spending the majority of our money on charter schools and out-of-district placements. So that is something, again, that this team before you is working extremely hard to make sure that we address with that. So fourth is family, parent, and community engagement. And I'm so excited that you all are here this evening because this is a part of the start right here. We need to engage our families, our communities, and our parents more. This is, as I said to you from the onset, this is what it's going to take, all of us working together in unison. And one of the things I said this afternoon on the podcast, again, if we really love the children as much as we say, I know there are differences that some of the adults have in the community, that goes, generations, generations after generation. In order to service our children, differences, concerns, or issues, all those things need to be put aside. We need to make sure that we come together as one and take care of these children. The children are watching everything that we do on a daily basis. We as a community need to set examples to make sure that they know that they're loved and cared for and protected. So I want to make sure that we do those things. Building relationships is a part of that. I know Ms. Averett, who I believe is here, she's actually going to be bringing back the Parent University along with Ms. Mosley. I know they're working as a team to make that happen. So we're really excited about that, making sure we bring that back. And partnering with our alumni. Who in here is a graduate of Chester High School? By show of hands. Let me see all the hands real quick. Okay. I know which class is the best, but I'm not going to say it. I'm going to just leave it right there. I know the best class. I'm not going to start it. I'm going to leave it out. So, but again, this is, this is really what my hope and my prayer is, that we can bring all the alumni back, really continue to build the Alumni Association, and come and support these students. I'm gonna tell you, a young man like Mikkel Martin, and someone has taken him under their wing and supported him, but there should be an alumni that wants to continue to keep in touch with this young man and just make sure he has what he needs as he's looking to grow in the world. So that's what I'm hoping, that the alumni will continue to return and serve as partners to this amazing school district. Finally, my fifth piece is the building a partnership. So this is just some of the individuals who we partnered with. A lot of great stories up here that has happened in just 12 months. So let me try to think where to begin. Currently, right now, in this building, on the first floor, we have a urban garden downstairs. It's called Think and Grow. We have students who are growing vegetables, fruits. They're making products. Receiver Nichols and Dr. Mumin and I actually had a hand massage with the lotion that these students had made. They're putting things together that they could actually market and sell. So one of our goals is to teach our students how to be entrepreneurs and create businesses and things of that nature. So we're working on that. So that's the Think and Grow group who's in this building right now. We have Chester Aviation. We're partnering with the Penn Foundation, American Airlines, and Paul Rinaldi. We had a group of students who actually had the opportunity in Chester High School, as well as the SIM Academy, to be a part of a simulation where they were actually controlling the air traffic. They were actually working on taking airplanes, 5 or 6 airplanes that were in the air, and landing these airplanes successfully without any issue. I can tell you, I jumped on the simulator myself, and thank God that I'm here with you all tonight, and I'm not an air traffic controller, because it didn't work out too well for them. It was a joke as well, but I will tell you this, that the amazing thing that Paul Rinaldi, who's a well-known air traffic controller, the amazing thing that he said about our students, he said there were like 5 or 6 students who had the it factor. Basically said that if these students had a few months more of training and just working with these simulators, that these are individuals who could go out right now and be air traffic controllers. Now, we all know the salaries of air traffic controllers. They walk out the door and make close to $100,000. And again, it's about exposure for our students. So this is one of 2 programs in this country that we are one of the 2 who have been afforded this opportunity. So Chester Aviation has been a great partner. Dr. Sutton, I know him and his team will be visiting some of the surrounding areas and actually going to some of the programs. They have another curriculum of aviation program in DC, Virginia area. So the goal is next year to actually bring this to Chester High School, so where there's actually a curriculum. So the goal is to partner with some of the local school universities. University of Delaware State. Delaware State has one of the best aviation programs in the country. So the goal is to work with some of these other partners to make these things happen for our students. So a few miles down the road from the airport, we need to teach our students all the opportunities that are available to them in the world of aviation. Again, I explained to you Local 413, a number of great partners, colleges and universities who we're working closely with for dual enrollment for our students, certification programs for our teachers. So again, the partnerships have been extremely good. All right. So those are the 5 areas that I will be focusing on. And as Receiver Nichols said, we will be holding a number of town hall meetings each month, well, throughout the year, next school year, the 22-23 school year, as we did this past year. So the goal is that many of you, and you'll bring a few friends along with you, will attend these town hall meetings with us, where they're more interactive, where we're really looking for feedback from our stakeholders. So during the town hall meetings, I'll be speaking to many of these areas. So again, those dates will be on the website shortly, and we look forward to you being a part of this. So we're going to get into some exciting news, some things that we're looking to do in actually, one of these projects will be taking place in the next few months. So right now, the first thing I want to speak to you about is the Chester High School Library Design we actually have a company that is in the Chester area. There's a company in Chester, and part of the agreement to being in Chester, they had to provide support to the school district. So I know one of the individuals, he had reached out to me and said they're working or partnering with a company who creates maker spaces for school districts. And could the Chester Upland School District use a maker space? You know, I would have been crazy to say, no, we can't use a maker space. Of course, I was like, we can definitely use a maker space in our building. So we're going to focus on Chester High School for the maker space for this coming school year. And they said they could actually start as early as the fall in constructing this, so they're going to come back out and meet with us. So the maker space, basically what it is, it's a large area where students can come together, work on different design projects. There's small group instruction areas, large group instruction areas. It's an opportunity for students to come together and work in small groups, work in large groups, work individually. You have a ton of technology at their fingertips. It will be out. This makerspace will be outfitted with all of those things for our students, and all of this is going to be provided to an organization for us for our students in the Chester Upland School District. So, just a sample of the rendering of what you have here. This is some of the seating, some of the things that you'll see. So this will be part of what the makerspace sees. When the individuals walked into the library, into Chester High School Library, and saw all of that space, they just got so excited. They said this was like a dream for a designer. They just said there's so much we can do with this space. So they'll be working on that. I know they spoke with Mr. Brown. They met with Mr. Brown, Dr. Sutton, and Dr. Mumine this past week to get all these things together. So this is a part of what we're looking to do this coming year.
Through partnership, and what's the cost?
Cost is absolutely nothing.
You gotta say that.
Okay, I'm sorry. The cost is absolutely nothing. $0 to the district. Yeah. Thank you, Receiver Nichols. That's your line, though. All right. So the next project that we want to talk about, I'm going to have Receiver Nichols partner with me on this as we talk through this. It's capital investments. What we're looking to do is we're looking to create a new plan, a campus model for the Chester Upland School District. So what we're looking to do, this is the STEM campus right here. This is the STEM Academy. How do you make the right like that? On the pointer? Okay, I was trying to get a pointer going. But anyway, all right, so you see the STEM Academy, that's the current building, the existing building. One of our goals that Receiver Nichols, the team, has talked about, and some of this information has come out of some of the town hall meetings that we've had, is to create some new construction in the school district. Does anyone know the last time a building was built in the Chester Upland School District? Do you know the year? Okay. Yeah. So you all are right in some ways, because they put the shovel in the ground in 1972. So they started, and the building was completed in 74, from my understanding. So you're talking about 50 years that a new building has not been built in a school district. I can tell you, you can search far and wide in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and you'll find very few school districts where they have not had new construction in a district. So one of the things that the receiver has talked about was we need to make sure that our babies are given the exact same thing that every child has in throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the United States. So this right here is the existing building. This is what we're looking to do, and this can actually be done within the next 4 to 5 years. So we're looking to create a secondary campus model. So the proposal is we want to move our middle school, that's the top building that houses 750 students. And then the larger building would be the high school building that holds at least 2,000 students. The goal is to put that robust CTE program that we talked about in there, to have a STEM a STEM academy in there, a STEM-related field in there, in our general studies. So a student who wants to be a STEAM fitter, a student who wants to be a STEAM fitter needs to know calculus. So that student who is in that CTE program will be able to walk down the hall to the calculus teacher and take his Calc AP, Calc AB, or Calc BC, whichever course that is. So the goal is one Chester, and that's what we're working on. This building right here, like I said, and Mr. Howard, Director of Facilities, can speak to some of this too later. But again, this is our goal, our dream to make this happen. Receiver Nichols, anything to add to this?
Yeah, big thing that I would like to say is a vision. So keep that in mind. This is a vision that we have. We are hoping that we can see this come to fruition. And we don't want to borrow money, so there will be some things that we'll do with some grants and other fundraising opportunities. But it's something that's much needed and desired for the Chester Upland School District. And even today, a meeting I sat in is good news, but some people may look at it as bad news. But we're running out of space for the kids because we have kids now coming back this next academic year. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. So as we plan and project out and see our increased enrollments, we want to make sure that we're able to house the students that we know will be coming back to the Chester Upland School District. So more information to come, but just be mindful, it's a vision now. And we want input, and we'll be tapping some of you so that we can talk about how we can get some resources to make this become a fruition. Thank you, sir. Come to fruition.
All right, we got it. All right, so I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Mamina, Assistant Superintendent of Schools. Again, you'll hear from Receiver Nicholson and us, and I, Receiver Nicholson and I, at the end, by the end of the presentation. But again, I just want to say thank you so much for being here this evening, and Dr. Mamina.
Good evening again, and thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment. It's very exciting to be here in the Chester Upland School District and have the opportunity to serve our babies as we've been talking about. I'll share with you briefly about the Office of the Assistant Superintendent. This is just some high-level areas to share our areas of focus, even though we provide support across the school district. The first and foremost is to, of course, support all the initiatives that come out of the Office of the Superintendent, district-wide. So the things that have been talked about by Receiver Nichols and our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Parkinson. In addition to that, oversight of our child accounting, which was talked about earlier, which we do in collaboration with the business office. That's with charter schools and outplacement payments. So one of our areas of focus this past year was to do enrollment verification to ensure that the students that we were actually paying for were actually attending those schools. And at the same time, looking at opportunities to bring our students back into the district. And I'll show you a rendering of one of the marketing pieces we did to support that. PIMS administration, which is our student information system. So our office is responsible for all of the student information that comes through the departments and reporting out to our State Department. Federal programs, again, we do this in collaboration with our business office, so oversight of our federal programs, dollars, which includes the Title I through IV dollars and our ESSER dollars. In addition to that, student registration. So one of the things that Dr. Parkinson would like to see this upcoming year is around centralization of our student registration, and that takes time. So one of the things that we worked on this past year was actually building an online platform working with PowerSchool. So soon to come, and hopefully during our town hall meetings, you will begin to be able to see how there are two options. There can either be this paper pencil that you will be able to go to a school for, but there's also an opportunity to enroll online. That is one of the most efficient ways to help do this, and we plan to provide support to all of our parents who wish to do that, as well as encourage community members to also support us in relaying this information as we share it out. So the idea would be that there's not one location that you could go to, but you would have opportunity, a kiosk, if you will, if you wanted to go to any of the building locations to enroll online, or if you wanted to come to the central office, but ultimately all the information is coming to one space, which is our district office, to ensure the information is accurate and that we're helping parents get what they need in terms of finalizing their registration. In addition to that, the truancy department is also in the office of the assistant superintendent. So working very closely with the Office of Academics in terms of meeting attendance goals. Dr. Sutton will talk about that later around our current data and where we seek to go with that. And again, providing support district-wide. In addition to that, our office also has oversight of non-public schools federal programs. The reason is because there are title dollars that come to the district that are for non-public schools, and we are required to make sure that we provide those dollars to the non-public schools. But we also, as the the LEA, the local education agency, we have oversight of that. So it's important for us to build a relationship with the non-public school leaders, to talk about their programs, to develop their goals, and talking with the chief academic officer as well and our team to look at what their programs are doing and their needs. And at the same time, all the controls that are in place for our LEA, to have those same controls in place for our non-public schools. And then lastly, but not least, these are some highlights, is to serve as that liaison between PDE in our district in terms of our statewide reporting. Right now, there's probably about 62 different reports that happens through PIMS administration. So ensuring that we collaborate across all the departments to make sure that happens and that it happens on time.
And sometimes I just jump in because they don't give themselves enough credit. But this is PDE told me this. I'm just telling you what PDE said. The first academic year that this district has been complying with all of its reports. So.
Thank you, Superintendent. So our areas of focus for this upcoming year, and again, these are just some of the highlights, some of the major priorities, includes data validation. So we recognize that we need to have clean, quality data in order to have informed decisions. So that's something that we're working with a company called Level Data this year. It's a project at no cost in a pilot to support the district. The online enrollment, centralized student registration, which I mentioned. So making sure we have opportunities to educate our community around what that looks like, and then supporting them in getting it done. So it doesn't become cumbersome, but it becomes a more efficient way to be able to do that, whether it be on a computer or on their phone. Truancy, again, to look at, Dr. Sutton will talk about this attendance data, and focusing on what will we do to make a difference, because we know that students need to be present in school in order for us to have impact on teaching and learning. The federal programs oversight, which I mentioned, around compliance, charter school oversight. One of the things that I'll show you now briefly is in terms of charter school. So one of the things that happens is a brick and mortar charter school is authorized by the local LEA. The cyber charters are not authorized in that way. They can go directly to the State Department. So there's not necessarily any control over how that happens. But what we do know is that we provide quality programs that we want to share with all of the students who potentially could be in these cyber programs. So one of the things that we have done is, as you can see here, we did a marketing piece to all of the students that would be eligible for our program that are currently in cyber programs, but they're not in our cyber program. So just to inform families about what we do offer, and making it, again, an easy way to enroll and to get information. So as you can see, there's a QR code on this, and what happens is, you take your phone, you go to the photo, you hover over it, just like some of the things we've done since COVID and going to restaurants, menus, things like that. But it takes a parent directly to the site to apply online. They could apply and answer the questions directly from their mobile phone. So we want to make this as easy as possible for our families, and to let families know that even though they may be in these other programs, we definitely offer these opportunities within districts. So those are some of the major initiatives coming out of the Office of the Assistant Superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you. And before Dr. Sutton speaks, again, for the public's knowledge, they're actually texting me to tell me to say things. There are over 15 charter schools within our district. So of our, this last year, of our $134 million, $32 million budget, $33 million budget, I should know that, right? $60 million went to charter schools. 62.5 went to charter schools. I round, but 62.5. That's almost half of our budget. And they get paid before we can do anything, before we can pay our teachers, before we can pay our light bills or anything. The charter payments off the top. So that's something that everyone should know.
It's good information, Mr. Nichols. Good evening, everyone. Oh man, it's dry already. Good evening, everyone. All right, I appreciate that. I'm gonna talk back church. All right, here we go. I'm Dr. Sutton. I am the Chief Academic Officer here in the district, oversee academics. That's primarily my responsibility. So just wanted to share some things about academics this year, some of our accomplishments. And again, this is all high level. We've done more than what's on this screen here. So I want you guys to think that this is all that we've accomplished. But these are some things that I've chosen to select and talk about this afternoon or this evening. Dr. Parkinson also shared some things. So one thing that was important for me was to make sure that our principals were receiving the appropriate professional development. So we've had, I want to say, leadership academies after school every 2 weeks. So every Tuesday from 4 to 5:30, our leadership team, including our principals and assistant principals, met with different professional developers who were able to kind of grow us in certain areas. And this is a practice that will continue throughout next year as well, because I believe as our principals grow, our teachers will thereby grow. And as a result of that, our students will grow academically. So that's our goal. Grow your principals to grow your teachers to grow your students. So that's our goal, and we'll continue with that. We've rolled out Naviance, which is an electronic portfolio platform that I know Mrs. Arnold is happy about. But our goal here was to increase the number of students who are exposed to college and career opportunities. So Mikkel talked about that this afternoon or this evening, but we want to expand it beyond high school so that they're being exposed in second grade, third grade, and so forth. And they have a collection of artifacts that they're building in their e-portfolio. So by the time they get to 12th grade, you'll be able to see all their accomplishments in one platform. So we rolled that out this year. I can't say that there was no cost, so no clapping here, but it's working for us. It's a tool that we identified as a need, and it's doing what we needed to do. We developed a curriculum review cycle. We want to make sure that there's a constant practice of evaluating data, evaluating the curriculum resources that we're using, and if we need to change something, we have a process for doing so rather than just implementing new curricula every other school year. So we have a process in place when, it's a 5-year process where we review data, we review the current resources that we use, and then we decide whether or not to move forward with something different or to keep what we have because it's working. If it's not working, we don't want to keep it. If it's working, let's continue with it. So that curriculum review cycle is in process. Induction and mentoring for new teachers, we rolled out that this year. That's pretty standard across all school districts, but I'm happy that we had about 20 teachers participate in our induction program this year. Felt like it was very successful. We look forward to expanding it next year as we welcome new employees, thanks HR, to the district. So implementation of new educator effectiveness system, which is our Act 13 system. It's how we evaluate teachers. There's something called a student performance measure. So now that now teachers are, how do I say this? Teacher data is tracked and part of their evaluation system. I'm gonna keep it basic, high level here. But that's our Act 13 system. And it also impacts the principals. So the principals also have a selective performance measure that they're required to complete as well. And it goes into their evaluation system. So there's a level of accountability from the principal down to the teacher, which I think will be helpful in showing growth across the district. Focus professional development on student engagement strategies and effective instruction. This past school year, we did not have many professional development activities or professional development days. I believe we only had 2 full professional development days, but we had a bunch of half days. With this new calendar, we do have, I want to say, 1 professional day every month. So that's 9 professional development days that our teachers will be able to, use and grow and participate in some type of personalized learning activities throughout the year. Again, to increase and enhance what they do in the classroom, as well as to receive more direction and instruction on how to meet the district goals that we have set for them. Some areas of focus for us for next year. Dr. Parkinson spoke on this a bit. He talked about the district-wide literacy initiative. We're still working on what that's going to look like, but we need you. We need you. If you have opportunities to come and read to elementary students, please sign up. My email address is at the bottom here, kSutton@chesteruplandsd.org. But we're looking to partner with people like you who are interested in the education of students here in Chester Upland. And I wish there were 300 to 400 other people here to hear the same message. In order for us to turn this around, we need you to partner with us. It's not one person that's going to make this happen. We're looking at a standard benchmark for all grade levels to measure academic progress. In the past, in the past year, we've used PSAT to measure academic progress. But moving forward, we're using a system called iReady in K-8, and we're using a system called MAP in the high school level to measure academic progress. And I'll be able to report out every quarter on how students are performing. Again, high level accountability there for you to kind of see what we're doing in the district. If we get here next year, I'm gonna show you some data. If we get here next year and the data looks the same, then you need to hold Dr. Parkinson accountable. Don't hold me accountable. But if it looks the same, hold him accountable. But in all seriousness, we want to be able to show you how we're performing throughout the year. Student attendance. Dr. Mumeen talked about student attendance a little bit, and I'm gonna show you some data on student attendance. But again, if they're not in school, we can't meet our goals and we can't meet the needs of students. So we need your support. You have friends and family members in Chester that you can talk to about having their children in school every day. That's what we need. Now, I understand that we've had COVID, the past 3 years, but we're kind of moving. Can I say we're moving out of it? Sort of. But we need students in school every day, and I'm gonna show you some data around that. I'm going to skip a little bit. So I'm gonna show you some data, and I shared this with the board in April. So this is not updated. Ms. Mosley, you saw this already, so don't grill me on this one. But I'm just gonna share some data with you, not to show you how bad things are, but again, to hold us accountable, because if we come back here next year and see the same things, we need to have a conversation. So this right here, this first slide, and I hope you can see it, is our student district enrollment. So this was as of October 1st, 2021. In the district, we had 2,621 students. So next year, I'll show you October 1, 2022 to let you know what enrollment was. But our goal, as Dr. Parkinson said, we're trying to bring more students back into the district, right? So at the highest peak there, it looks like in 2015, we had 3,343 students. So we're hoping to get back to those numbers, back in the 3,000s, as opposed to this 2,621. But we do that by improving academics, improving the culture and climate of schools, and then having more parent participation in our schools. This is just a quick slide on school enrollment. So Coosa right now has about 400 students. At its highest capacity, it had about 507. So we want to get back to that number. Main Street has 313. At their highest, they were at 442. And then Stetzer has 273, and at their highest, they were around 318. So again, we want to see those increases in our enrollment. At the high school, Chester High, on October 1st, was at 861. And again, all these numbers fluctuated throughout the school year as students are a bit transient. So 861, but again, at their highest, they were at 1,104 students. That's where we need to get back to. STEM is at 450, and at some point it had 732 students, which meant we had around 1,600 students in high school in the district. We want to get back to that point where people are confident in the high school curriculum that we're providing and in the culture of the school. And then Toby Farms has 326 students, and at some point they were at 568, but that's probably when they were an intermediate school, I'm thinking, where they had 4th and 5th grade. So this is the attendance I was talking about. And it's a little hard to see, so I'm gonna read it for you. That first set of bar graphs, you'll see Coosa. This is their average daily attendance rate. Thank you. It is easy. The average daily attendance rate at Coosa was 79%. And we're talking about an elementary school where you're typically used to attendance rates being in the 90s for elementary school. So we're at 79% at Coosa for average daily attendance. At Main Street, 81%. and Stetzer 87%. So we want those numbers to be, in the high 90s. And again, I recognize that COVID impacted some of these numbers, but they're pretty consistent over the past several years. At the high school, at Chester High, the average attendance rate is 51%. 51%. At STEM, it's 73%, well, really 74%, and Toby Farms, 81%. Again, we want to get those numbers higher in the 80s, closer to the 90s. Here are some graduation rates. So this is the 4-year cohort graduation rate. I started with you as a freshman, and I ended with you as a senior. That happens for 47% of Chester High School students. STEM, it happens for 98. I'm sorry, it's at 98? 98% of the students. Much work to be done, particularly at Chester High School. Now this is the big one for me, because this is our regular attendance rate. This means that my student attended for 90% or more of the days. That means they have not missed more than 18 days of school. So at Chester High School, and this data was taken in April. At Chester High School, only 15% of the students had attended for 90% of the days. At STEM, it's at 32%. Stetzer at 60%. Coosa 35% or 34%. Main Street 48%. And Toby Farms 38%. So we have a good number of students who are missing school on a regular basis. So if a teacher is teaching fractions on day 1 and a student missed the next 2 days, what happens? It's a lot of learning loss. But then when I show you the academics, you're going to say, Dr. Sutton, why my kid ain't growing? Well, he's not coming to school. So we need that to happen. And I feel like I'm preaching to the choir a bit. Here's the dropout rates for 2021. At Chester High School, it was at 7.78%. And what this means is a student was enrolled, did not graduate, but they're no longer enrolled in any school, right? So 7.78% dropout rate. And that last number is Toby. I'm guessing that was one student that decided not to return, but they never enrolled anywhere else. All right, so here's some PSSA data from this past school year, and I'll go through it quickly. We started off the school year by giving the students PSSAs. Of course, we had the COVID year, so we expected some decline. So you don't want to compare last year's data with the previous year's data. But I will tell you that we are starting to receive PSSA and Keystone data from this past school year, and I'm hoping to see some improvement that I'll be able to share later on in the summer. So looking at 3rd grade ELA, which is language, arts, and reading, right now about 20% of our students were proficient in reading and ELA for 3rd grade, 19% for 4th grade, 12% for 5th grade. So we got to give our kids a fighting chance, right? So if 12% of our students are leaving elementary school being able to read, of course their struggles are going to compound. So we need to catch them at 3rd grade. Well, actually, we need to catch them in pre-kindergarten and build those skills there. But that happens by students attending school regularly, us reading to our students. That's why I'm asking that if you have time to come to our buildings and read to students, that'd be helpful, so helpful. But there are some other things that we're thinking about as a district to increase the literacy in our buildings. So that was 3rd, 4th, and 5th of ELA. 6th grade, 18%. This is ELA again, reading. 18% of the students who were proficient. 7th grade, 12%. 8th grade, 11%. It's the math PSSA. So third grade, we had 5% of our students proficient in third grade. 2% in fourth grade, 0 in fifth grade. This is all mathematics. Sixth grade, 0. Seventh grade, 0. Eighth grade, 0. So there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done here. And if you look at the scores before COVID, they weren't much higher, right? 6th, 7th, and 8th are not over 10% anywhere, or really 8% anywhere. So there's a lot of work to be done here. Our science PSSAs, 4th grade, 26%, and they only take science PSSAs in 4th and 8th. So 4th grade is at 26%, and 8th grade at 5%. Keystone scores. So looking at Algebra 1, there were 0% of our students proficient in Algebra 1, 1.6% in biology, and 14.6% in literature. So moving forward, so it's great to show that data to let you know where we are, but what are we going to do about it? So moving forward, the district and school leadership teams have met this summer to develop an attendance plan that we will roll out shortly. It's been led by the curriculum department and Dr. Parkinson and Dr. Mameen. We'll be happy to share it with you all very soon, I'm assuming. Universal implementation of social emotional lessons. We do have an SEL curriculum that we will be implementing for morning meeting at the elementary and middle school levels, but at the high school level, it'll be implemented in the social studies classrooms. Full execution of PBIS. Again, this is just another way to support our students to make sure that they're coming to school on a daily basis. Ongoing professional development related to math and reading instruction. Integrated literacy initiatives across all subject areas. So we want to have literacy in science, math, PE, wherever we can have literacy embedded, that's what we want to do. Our babies got to be able to read. Rollout of iReady and MAP, I spoke to you about that. That's our benchmark. We want to make adjustments to the curriculum maps as needed throughout the year and throughout the summer. We're hiring interventionists for our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students. So we have a high level of students who need additional support. We want to make sure that they get the one-on-one and small group support that's needed. We want to monitor instruction regularly. And that can't happen just with the curriculum department. That's why we're building capacity with our school leaders to make sure that they're in classrooms, providing substantive feedback that'll help students and teachers grow. Implementation of performance assessments across all grades and content areas. So this is very new for us. I really need to look into professional development around this performance assessment, but we need to be able to assess students beyond a state test, right? I wasn't the kid that was going to sit down and take a state test and take it seriously. So you would have thought that I wasn't as smart as, you probably still don't think I'm smart, but but a performance assessment can give you an opportunity to show your knowledge in a different way. So we're looking forward to providing some professional development around performance assessments across all grade levels. And I'm gonna stop here and pass.
So I just want to say thank you to Dr. Sutton. Round of applause. When I asked him to present this information, he said I was setting him up for tonight, for some darts. But in all seriousness, it was extremely important for you all to know where we currently stand. This is our baseline data. Many people would hide information like this from you, because everyone wants to be, look great. We all want to look great. But at the end of the day, as Dr. Sutton said, this is truly for me to be held accountable as a superintendent. You all have brought me into this district. I've given you my word that we were going to work hard, but it's going to take a team effort to make this happen. We wanted you to be able to see the ugly, and that data is extremely ugly, but I have confidence in this team and all of the teachers in this district that you're going to see improvement each year as the students matriculate through the grade level. So the data wasn't pretty, but I can assure you that as we do this each year, as Receiver Nichols said, this will be an annual event. You're going to see those numbers climb. So, again, definitely some tough data to share.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Purcell Whitaker. I'm the Director of Student Services for the district. And I want to share with you some of the accomplishments that that we had for this current school year. When I entered into the district in August, we were presented with many challenges, but from them challenges came lots of opportunity for growth. So I want to talk to you and kind of piggyback off of Dr. Sutton in regards to the percentage of students who are proficient. When you talk about special education, one of the criteria for identifying for special education for learning support is to be 2 grade levels or behind in reading or math. So based off that data, we have a district where we could identify a large number of our students as special ed. As it stands now, approximately 20% of our students are special ed, which is significantly high for the state. So some of the things, one of the major accomplishments that we were able to do this year is a 3-year plan for MTSS, which is a multi-tiered support system. And what that does is help students or prevent students from going into special education. Through this model, we get to identify students who are struggling academically, behaviorally, and social emotional, and put interventions in place that are measured. And the hope is to prevent students from needing special education. So that's really huge that we're able to start that this year in every building to have an MTSS team. So that's one of the highlights of special education. In addition, we were able to complete our special education plan. The special education plan will set the trajectory for this department for the next 3 years. And some of those things I'll talk about when we talk about the areas of focus. We're also able to partner with many other outside agencies to provide support, whether it's in related services, instruction, or interventions. We partner with many outside agencies. In addition, we're able to also provide social emotional learning by partnering with community council, effective school solutions, and also providing a 3-year plan for PBIS to be implemented in the schools, as Dr. Sutton mentioned. In the Department of Student Services, we're able to implement PBIS as it was mentioned. We now have a curriculum for social emotional learning, which will be implemented for PBIS. We are also have developed equity and access for our Spanish-speaking families. I share a story when I have an opportunity. When I was here about October, I saw a Spanish family who was trying to register at the high school, and it was really challenging for them. So I made it one of my goals to provide more access for families who don't speak English, and we were able to do that by contracting with translation services. Also bringing in our social emotional learning coordinator is also fluent in Spanish, so she's been instrumental in making those connections with those families. So for me, the areas of focus for next year is to collaborate with the Office of Curriculum, the Chief Academic Officer, to look at curriculum, instruction, and assessment. Because as I mentioned earlier, we are connected as a tandem. We're only as good as the curriculum is. So we're going to work closely with that department to make improvements. We are also going to work from our special education plan. That's going to drive what we do the next upcoming years, and that's available on the website if you want to take a look at that. And also, I also really want to talk about parent engagement as well. It's my goal to have parent series next year, at least 3 of them for our special education families, so they understand their rights. They understand the IEP and each part of the IEP, so they feel like they're getting the services that they are owed by the Chester Upland School District, and that we're providing them a free and appropriate public education. And also training. We definitely need a lot of training. We have a lot of special education teachers who are emergency certified. So we plan on providing them training from DCIU and Patan. And we also were granted a grant to recruit special education teachers. So that's going to be great. I'm looking forward to working with that. So I'm looking forward to taking the momentum that we've had in the 21-22 school year and taking that into the 22-23 school year. So thank you for your attention.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Ashley Plus. I'm the Director of Human Resources. So just in general, I know that Receiver Nichols briefly mentioned it earlier, but some of the progress that the district and this team has made has definitely created a new challenge for the HR department. So just today, I had to go down the hallway to the business office because we have new enrollment, which looks like we'll need to have 4 or 5 additional classrooms for the upcoming school year, which we currently didn't have listed on our budget. So between May and June and now just July, we now have to find 5 additional teachers for the new enrollment that we've gotten. So I did just want to shout out the district for that because I think that's great. So some of the accomplishments that the HR department has been able to do this year, for those of you who may not be aware, we were audited by the Department of Education earlier in the school year that resulted in the current district administration acknowledging that there were teachers that did not have the appropriate certifications and credentials to maintain their roles. So through the HR department, we have been working very diligently with those teachers since about October so that we could try and maintain as much as our current staff as possible. However, we did have to make some adjustments because of that. So I can say going into the school year, you can quote me on this, there will not be a teacher in the district that will not have the appropriate credentials to educate our students. So in alignment with understanding our current staffing needs and the current constraints that we have, we are working very diligently with our teachers who do not have the appropriate credentials, as well as with the unions, and making sure they are enrolled in certified teacher preparation programs throughout the state. We have a lot of collaborations right now with Immaculata University, Cheney, Widener, Westchester, and Lincoln University as well. So we are trying to feed them into the programs that they need to be in to become certified professionals. So we are very excited about those initiatives. Another thing that we were able to do, so prior to this current school year, the entire HR department was completely manual. So I know that created a lot of issues, even with our staffing. Every time we needed to get some documentation to verify our teachers' employment or just staff in general, we were sorting through boxes, going to different classrooms throughout Chester High School on the first floor just to find files. So I know that was a really big issue and an audit finding. So the district is moving to completely paperless in the HR department. So that will be rolling out in the upcoming school year. So the entire employee experience will be online through Frontline. All of their PDE information, training, learning platforms, everything will be ran through one central hub, so that we will have a tracking system, but our employees will also be able to see what's going on with their employment status. We're very excited to announce that the district was able to successfully negotiate all of our current union contracts for the upcoming school year. So from what I understand, if there were 6 years, the last contract was negotiated 6 years ago. So we were able to negotiate contracts so that every individual, unless they were not here for at least a year, was able to receive a raise coming into the upcoming school year, which was also not done in previous years. Pretty big for us, especially with our professional contracts. Previous to this current contract, the district was well below the starting rate for a teacher within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but even in Delaware County, we were significantly low. So I'm happy to announce that we're only $1,300 under. So we are working very diligently to ensure that in that next contract negotiation, we're able to address the salary increases so that we can continue to recruit teachers and other professional contract employees. One of the things that the HR department has been very upfront about is the fiscal responsibility of the HR department through reporting and internal auditing processes. So we have been working very diligently with the HR department to ensure that everyone's PSAT information is up to date, that what we are reporting out to the state as well as to our insurance benefits and everything is up to date, so that we are receiving accurate funding into the district, but that we are actually paying what we should be for our employee benefits. So for areas of focus for the upcoming school year, one of the main things that we're going to focus on is improving the employee climate and culture throughout the school district. I think that everyone knows, we all know when someone doesn't want to be present. So we want to make sure that our teachers and our staff, they want to come to work every day. They feel comfortable. They understand, and they feel that they have an administration team that is working with them and that supports them. So that is something that the HR department is going to be tasked with ensuring, as well as creating a safe space for employees to come and talk to us about the concerns they may have without any fear of retribution. And in addition, the district will be rolling out its first staff handbook. So to date, the district has never had a universal staff handbook. So if it's not dictated through any of the union contracts, people are often lost as in what the policies and procedures are during their tenure as employees with us. We will also be restructuring district staff to better fit the needs of the students. So as Mr. Martin indicated, those extracurricular activities that they want to see, those additional elective courses, as well as career and college readiness courses, we are working very diligently with our current scheduling team as well as the curriculum instruction department to ensure that we're able to address the scheduling as well as our staff to better fit the needs of the students. And lastly, we will be working very diligently with the curriculum instruction team to create an employee performance and evaluation system. So this system is going to feed directly to the Department of Education. So for employees who have to have ACT 48 hours and those other credentials to maintain their employment, we will have that. But we will also be rolling out a professional development platform that will assist in differentiated professional development for our staff so they are better prepared to teach our students. Thank you. If you're looking for if anyone is interested in employment opportunities with the Chester Upland School District, please reach out to me. I know that my email address was on there, but it's APLESS@ChesterUplandSchoolDistrict.org. Thank you. ChesterUplandSD.org.
Good evening. My name is DeWanna Mosley, and I am the business administrator for Chester Upland School District. Some of the major accomplishments of the business office. Can you guys hear me? I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Yes. All right. Hey, Mom. Some of the major accomplishments that we have successfully completed in the business office. In the last 6 months, we have recouped almost $1.2 million for Chester Upland School District that was paid out either in error or were reimbursable funds that the district did not collect. Majority of that, about $593,000, came from our PlanCom reimbursements, which are debt service payments that the district has had due to capital projects in the past. Simply, when you make your payment, we are entitled to receive a percentage of that back. The district has not collected those reimbursements since 2017. We have submitted all of the paperwork for that. We have started to receive some of those reimbursements, but all the paperwork has been submitted for us to receive the $593,000. We completed the outstanding 2021 workers' comp audit. We just got an email 2 days ago. The district will be receiving about $101,000 back in premium payments that were overpaid due to inaccurate reporting. We also updated
That's the second one this year.
That is the second one this year. I was getting to that. We also corrected the payroll reporting for the 21-22 fiscal year, which was reported. We did receive $155,000 credit back for this fiscal year. The district was recently on red light status with Universal Administration Services. As a school entity, we are entitled to receive a 90% reimbursement for our internet service. But the district was on red light status. We did complete that for next school year. So of the $183,000 that the district will pay in internet service, we will receive $165,000 of that back. We are first time since 2014. We are in the process of trying to appeal for this year and last year. The state denied it the first time, but I'm gonna keep asking. So we can try to get reimbursements for the last 2 years. And I'm being generous here where we've also received about a minimum of $250,000 in refund checks for payments that were duplicate payments that were paid twice. A lot of those duplicate payments was due to the lack of compliance and proper documentation that Dr. Parkinson mentioned earlier, which is why that's one of our biggest focuses. A lot of payments were paid 2 and 3 times because we didn't have the proper, like I said, invoicing and documentation in place. So that has been one of our biggest accomplishments. The second one, we did submit a balanced budget for 22-23 to the state on time. Our budget was submitted on June 28th. I think last year's budget wasn't submitted till about July. And we did submit a balanced budget more than anything. We were able to capture all of the district's true expenditures, which last year's budget was missing a minimum of about $4.5 million. Thirdly, submitted timely quarter reports. I am pleased to announce all of our quarterlies for our grants were due tomorrow. We already submitted those today. To help keep our grant funding rolling in every month, we were able to submit those. Probably the biggest accomplishment in my eyes is the next one, that we did not need an advance from PDE to begin the month of July.
That is a requirement to exit receivership, by the way, not receiving those advances. So this is the first year that we haven't done it, and we're going to continue to do it. My goal is to work myself out of a job. So I want to be out of here in 2 to 3 years. So I'm looking for a job, Mr. Cunningham.
This was the first time the district has not received an advancement in 6 years. I can honestly say PDE was very surprised when they asked me, was I sure that we did not need the advancement? And I told them we did not. We have been able to reconcile majority of our employee payroll benefits. I know Dr. Grassley is happy to hear that one. As it relates to our 403 contributions, our AFLAC contributions, and also our retirement with Sarvoya and Peasers. And the last one, I think we've established a very strong and independent team in the business office. I know PDE constantly asks how are we functioning in the business office with the number of employees that we have. Honestly, it's in collaboration with everyone up here who has been very supportive of the business office in regards to the things that we need to happen, that needs to happen district-wide. This, like I said, this team has been very supportive to make sure everyone in their department is complying with the policy and procedures that we're implementing. I will mention also. So the area of focus, of course, going into next school year is the district negative fund balance. That exists. I am pleased to say we do have an outstanding of $3.8 million in bills that we owe from last year. The reason I'm mentioning that because we also last school year paid $10 million in past due bills. Thank you. So one could say if we didn't have any outstanding bills, our bank account would be better than what it is. But like I said, we were able to pay $10 million in past due bills with outstanding. We know exactly all of our outstanding payables going into this year. Prior to when our budget was submitted, it was submitted with a negative fund balance of almost $15 million. That has historically been carried over from year to year. So that is our biggest focus financially. Like I said, of course, not receiving advancements, but also not having a negative fund balance is a requirement to exit receivership. So that is our biggest focus. So to Ms. Arnold's point, she said she was hungry when she came here, and I had to let her know she couldn't get a meal today. She couldn't get any popcorn today, Ms. Arnold, not today. We gotta attack this negative fund balance. You got some water though. You got some water for you, Ms. Arnold. Next, our focus is just being fiscally responsible, collaborating with the Office of the Superintendent and key stakeholders, as also the community, focusing on areas of ways to increase cash flow. One of the things the superintendent did approve this year, we're going to a bi-weekly accounts payable process, which will be opposite of payroll to help with monthly cash flow. Also focusing on providing all of our departments with monthly budgets that coincide with cash flow, and more so just focusing on educating all of our building leaders and our staff. And I can honestly say major kudos to all of our staff, because I can't tell you how many teachers just come to the office, the business office first, to ask a question prior to taking any steps before ordering or doing anything. So again, just continuously educating them on how things have to happen and when things actually can happen within the district. And then the last one, of course, is just continue to be transparent with our building leaders, our lenders, our staff, all of our stakeholders. I can honestly say a lot of vendors that the district has had in the past have called us good faith lenders, borrowers, customers this year, just because we've been very transparent about when we actually can pay and where the district stands. And we've been true to that word. I think, like I even mentioned, Chester Community Charter reached out and asked me, was I going to pay him this month? And I told him, I'll see what I can do. But he's been very receptive because, like I said, we've built that is our largest vendor, by the way. I think last year we paid Chester Community Charter $36 million alone. But they have been very open and honest, and like I said, just been very receptive because we've been very transparent about where we stand and when we can actually make payments. So that's really been our focus, is to build those positive relationships back with vendors and to reestablish that trust. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alfred Howard. I'm the Interim Director of Operations for the Chester Upland School District, supporting the leadership here in all of their plans with facilities and operations. A lot of the things that we've been doing over the last year has been, really doing an assessment of the projects associated with ESSER funding. And we are really moving forward in the right direction with a lot of the funding that we have, and utilizing those funds in a proper way that we want to enhance our school buildings. A lot of the things that we've done over this last year is we've put controls in place to control all the waste and trash management that we've had. And I'll let you know, just to be totally transparent, it's similar to my team here, is that we've had, over the last 4 or 5 years, we had 4 trash vendors doing the same job. No one never looked at that, but with this team and the support of the superintendent and receiver, we just started looking deeper into all of the nuts and bolts of where we're spending money, how we're spending money, and why are we spending so much money for these issues and these support mechanisms that support the district. So along working with the business office and the superintendent, we uncovered numerous amounts of double coverage, especially with waste and trash management. We streamlined that process and put controls in place, so we have order in place to support and control our dollars and funding. This year, we also started evaluating the vendors that are coming into the district and doing work. They are our customers. They work for us. So it's not a point of them allowing a vendor to come in and tell us what we're going to do, what they're going to do for us. We're telling them what you're going to do for us and spend our money correctly. So we're streamlining that process and bringing better vendors to the district to service and support us that are in line with our policies and procedures. A lot of the other things we're doing is just putting controls in place. We had 15 vehicles, or 15 to 25 vehicles that we had under insurance that we don't even own anymore. It's a lot of money that was wasted that we uncovered, and we're bringing those dollars back to the district. One of the things we did this year was the first in history for us, is that we were looking at our utility spending. And one thing we can't control is utility spending. But once we looked at every invoice and bills that were coming into the district, we found that we were spending dollars for buildings that we don't even own for years. But working with the business office and the superintendent, I'll let you know that we got a reimbursement from PECO and other utilities because of our due diligence in doing that work. So we're streamlining the process. We're looking deeper into the processes and bill payment, and we're just being diligent in our duties to make sure that we are providing a service for the children that we serve. The plan of actions for vendors moving forward is really to collaborate with the business office and making sure that we have proper certifications of insurance for each vendor, W-9s for each vendor to make sure they're legit, and also holding the vendors accountable. When you come into our school district and you're doing work, we have somebody with you from our maintenance team, just making sure that you're doing the work that we want you to do, and we're signing off on it. And we put some controls in place with our facilities team that not only will my facilities team be signing off on it, we're making sure that the principal is also happy with the service. A lot of the things moving forward, which we look at as one of the biggest bills for the district, is transportation. We're in the process now of just creating a rock solid RFP that's going to go out on the street and bring back better vendors and tell vendors what you're going to do for us, and not allow vendors to come in to the Chester Upland School District and do what they want for our kids, not picking them up on corners, dropping children off where they don't belong. So we're streamlining that process and making sure that they are working for us to support our children moving forward. Last but not least, we're working on improving communications, especially with our school leaders, where we've developed a work order system. We can't go out and buy a $10,000 work order system, so we just created a facilities repair email. If a school leader has problems in their school, we've asked them to just send an email to this link and we go out and try and repair it. It increased response time. It provides, we're getting better with what we're doing. We need a lot of work. We have a long way to go, but we are definitely improving. And I can say for sure, last year when we were in this auditorium, it was hot. We had 20 fans. This year, I know everybody's a little cold. So we're making progress and we're trying to do the best that we can with what we have. And we're just trying to streamline the process. So moving forward, I think better things that are come, especially with what the superintendent and receiver are trying to do with developing a full K-12 campus across Pennsylvania. A lot of school districts have built new schools over the last 7 years using state funding coming through PlanCon. And myself and Dewana and the superintendent, when the state came here, we sat them down and I said, we should be getting reimbursed from PlanCon for all this stuff that we have been doing. And what has happened is that it turned in that we had money just sitting out there, close to $600,000. That we went back and we did the paperwork and we did the legwork, and we are now receiving those payments from PlanCon for the work that we've done in the past. So moving forward, we're just going to be diligent in our duties and trying to make sure that we're providing safe haven for our children and providing a good facilities and for all the children to come into. So thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. We can do better than that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I demand your attention. So I'm just letting you know that. Truly, if you can go back to the first slide, just pause for a moment and just take a nice glimpse of that. This happened over the course of last year, of course, but we see a lot of smiling faces, right? And this happened through COVID, and that shows the resilience of our young people. And it was very tough, to have our young people participate in sports, but every day go through a COVID test. Every day go through a COVID test. And myself, Coach Karen, who's in the room as well, some other coaches, we had to administer tests ourselves. And so I wanted us to look at this picture just for a moment because we got smiling faces going through a course of a serious difficulty of COVID. And so we have young people who won championships, young people who've advanced to platforms they've never seen before in the district. And so I just wanted us to really take a nice look at this because it's truly about the young people. I'm thankful that I'm now the athletic director for the school district, also the head football coach, and I'm all about children. And I just like to talk about, I just like giving the definition of what the heart should already, entail and show. But it's all about the students. If you can click the next slide, please. So our accomplishments for 21-22. What we have is the first bullet. The football program advanced to the playoffs for the very first time in school's history. The second bullet, thank you. That second bullet, our basketball program has advanced back-to-back district championships through COVID. It just shows the resiliency of our young people. We reestablished our girls volleyball program. We reestablished a partnership with the Philadelphia Union Foundation for soccer. We reestablished a partnership with Chester Biddy basketball. We partnered with now Chester Panthers Wrestling for the reestablishment of wrestling in the school district. We established the athletic handbook for the Chester Upland School District. I will tell you that there's a lot of things that have gone on that should not go on. And the reason why I share that is if we go to a different school district, there's a space and there's a time that everything should take place, right? And so sometimes we get bombarded with things. We have persons that want to take over certain things. What I'm trying to say is that we should be structured. And so I'm thankful for the task to help us to be structured. So we have an athletic handbook. that has gone out to our head coaches at the end of the athletic year. We established a structured budget. Thank you, Ms. DeWanna Mosley, for helping me with that. I'm serious. You know, it's when a head coach comes and asks, what's my budget? It's really hard to look that coach in the face and tell him that I don't know. And so with the help from Ms. Mosley, she helped me to break down, itemize for each sport what it should look like. So each head coach will have their itemized budget for the next school year. So we became a recipient, and I say we because it's all of us. It was some legwork from the football program, but we as a district are the recipients of a van donation from Bethany Baptist Church in Chester, as well as Omega Psi Phi Epsilon Pi chapter, in helping us get a van for our young people. I know that most of us know in this room that our young men and women are plagued through, walking through the city. And so having lost 3 student athletes under my watch, is really painful. And I had shared this with the superintendent about transportation. And he's like, please don't tell me, that you're taking students. So he doesn't know. Just close your ears, Doc. But in all seriousness, he was genuinely listening to me when I stated that I would rather drive a student athlete myself and as opposed to seeing them walk. I do not allow our student athletes to walk at all. If I have to drive them, I will. So that being said, though, Bethany Baptist Church donated a van to us. It will be rolling soon. We do have some paperwork that we have to get done. Amen. We do have some paperwork that we have to complete in order for the van to be up and running with us, or for us. We partner we continuously partner with Greek organizations for community service. I know that Coach Karen, she and the cheerleaders, they do a fantastic job day in and day out, or every year, in helping with community service. But some of the areas of focus for 22 and 23, we want to reestablish tennis. I remember when I first came into the district, Mr. Providence, he was the tennis coach at that time. But it's some sports that are dormant. And we, with the charge from our superintendent, Dr. Parkinson, he said, I want a robust athletic program. And so it allowed for me to sit still and see what we had, up and running in those sports that were dormant. So tennis will be back this year. We reestablished the sport of wrestling with the partnership of the Chester Panthers wrestling program. We reestablished the sport of softball. And I know that young ladies are really interested in, being active. So we want to make sure that we don't have any issues with Title IX. Introducing the sport of swimming to the Chester Upland School District. It was said to me that we had a swimming pool above this room, and I don't know how that would happen, but there's some talks behind the scenes with Widener University to help our students to get involved in the sport of swimming. I know that they have a swimming pool there, and so there's further conversations that need to be had in order for this to take place, but we will be introducing swimming to the school district. The implementation of uniform cycles for programs. We have uniforms that have not been up to date since 2014, and that has really been an issue. And so again, with the help of our business department, we're now able to put uniforms on a cycle. So those uniforms or those sports programs that did not have uniforms since 2014 will definitely have uniforms this upcoming year. So this is the most important, and it may have should have been the first bullet, but progress monitoring. Our student athletes, and understanding that COVID has really done a number on so many of us, in fact, all of us, our young people, they struggle. They struggle, being in front of the computer, being at home, having distractions at home, even coming to school with distractions. But really, there has been a charge on myself as well as our advisor committee to make sure that we have progress monitoring and making sure that our student athletes are up to date and that we don't have violations with PIAA. And so we will have that that report running every week to make sure that our student athletes are up to par. And last but not least, with the help and support of our superintendent, we will have golf coming to the district. It will start in our elementary sector first, just to be a feeder, so that by the time those young people move through elementary to middle school and then to high school, we will have a functioning golf program. Tiger Woods? Yeah. And if you have any further questions or would like to support the athletic program, please email me, lbell@ChesterUplandSchoolDistrictSD.org. Or lbell@ChesterUplandSD.org, sorry. Thank you so much.
All right, so Receiver Nichols and I will provide some closing remarks. I just want to first start by, again, thanking each and every one of you for your participation tonight. It really means a lot for us, for you to have taken this time to come out, because, you know, it could have been anywhere else but here, but it means so much to us that you come out. Before I even get to that piece, I really want to thank this amazing team who is behind me. Truly a new day is coming. And I want to highlight also, and Receiver Nichols mentioned this, the school board who was present with us this evening. The school board has been truly amazing and extremely supportive in all that we're doing. So again, I want to thank you to the school board members. Round of applause for these good people who do some good work for us. And definitely, and I'm sure hopefully they're watching. If not, they'll see the video. The teachers, the staff in the Chester Upland School District, the world doesn't go around without them. So, I just want to say thank you for each and everything that they do for our students, our coaches, the entire staff. It's extremely important. So, as I transition to what I really want to say to you about the children, I tell you that I love nothing more in this world than our young people and our children. They mean so much to me, and I know they mean so much to the Receiver Nichols and his team. One of the things I tell everybody, that my focus is always on the children. It will always be on the children. I know there are people who, you're going to have people who criticize, people who don't agree, people who will create issues. But I always say, if you keep your eyes focused on the children and you make the children believe in what you're doing, that you're truly there for them and you love them, everyone's going to have to eventually just get on board. So the goal is that you saw the data up here about our students, which was not pretty. What I want people to be upset about in this community is the test scores that our children are producing, the opportunities that they're missing out on. Mr. Martin spoke clearly, the opportunity to travel abroad, the opportunities to take AP classes, higher level courses. These are extremely important things that we must give to our children. I always say to people, education is the ultimate equalizer, something they can never take away from you. Once you are educated, no one can take that away from you. And when we fail to educate our children, we're setting them up for failure. Those are the things that we need to go home and cry about. Like, looking at those scores, we should all be angry and upset. But after we get past that anger, the various emotions that you go through, the next step is for us to all come together and help develop a plan. Because this isn't just on Dr. Sutton or the team here or myself. It's on all of us. And if those scores continue to not show what our students are capable of doing, shame on all of us. Children are children. Our children in Chester are just as talented as the children in the neighboring school district. No doubt about that. And the charge is on us to make that happen for them. They are depending on us. And I always say to the staff that, we need to work every day like the children's lives depend on it, because it does. If we don't do and provide them what they need, it's going to continue to set them up for failure. So pass it over to Receiver Nichols. I look forward to seeing you all again in the fall when we start our town hall meetings.
Thank you, Dr. Parkinson. I am going to get us some wireless mics. I saw a lot of people here about to trip over these cords. But again, we thank you so much for coming out this evening. And I would like to apologize to the audience watching at home. We had some streaming issues, but this video will be available immediately upon the completion of this event this evening. It'll be uploaded to our YouTube channel and our website. Again, we apologize. We're here for the children in this district, plain and simple, and we're going to do everything we can in our power to ensure that each and every one of our students that walk through all of our doors have a quality education and a safe environment. That's our ultimate goal, and we're going to turn this district around. We had a meeting today with an individual who's out of state that's been in and out of Chester talking about development. And the one thing is, as education goes here, economic development goes, the housing stock goes up, it just becomes a better community. So we are charged, all of us in this room, not just this dynamic team behind me, but each and every one of us to lead this charge for our young people here in the Chester Upland School District. So again, I thank you so much and encourage you to come out to our school board meeting on next Thursday. The actual school board meets and they have their committees, and you'll see the cabinet members interacting with them. It is here in the boardroom downstairs. It starts at 6 p.m. It also will be live streamed, hopefully working. That's not your fault, I know. Hopefully working live stream so people can see it. And at that opportunity, again, the format of that meeting is for you to get more detail as to what goes on at the receiver meeting that comes the following week. So each and every resolution moving forward will be discussed and deliberated upon in great detail with cabinet members and school board members that are over the various committees. The following Thursday, the fourth Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. is the receivers meeting, and we most certainly encourage you to come out to that as we actually take action on those items that were discussed at the school board meeting the week before. So again, I promise you we'll be out by 7:30. The air conditioner still, I think they just cut it off. I don't hear it kicking anymore. And we have to cut the overtime. So enjoy yourselves. If you have any questions, please put them on the index cards and you can leave them out with Miss Claudia Alvaret at the table. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.